Good morning, Washington. How are you? Hi there. Hi. This is Dave TV and Cord Cutter combination. It's two mints in one on Dave TV. Now our morning exercises. All right, everybody. DCRTV's number one fan, Dina, said, Dave, stop those stupid gyrations at the beginning of the show. They're just plain weird. She also gave me some advice. She said, turn on the on-air sign. So, I don't know if can you see that there with the glare? I guess you can see it. I always have this on-air sign behind me. And I decided, she said, turn it on. It's cool. So, there it is. It's on. We're on the air. Anyhow, some people are saying, Dave, if I get rid of my cable, can I watch all my TV on Roku? And I said, well, yes and no. If you like cable networks like HGTV and A&E and ESPN and CNN, probably not. But there's other stuff you can watch on Roku that'll fill the void for a lot of those channels. So yes and no. And if you want to watch your local channels, you probably need an antenna. Or one of my friends, I said, one of the things you can do is call your cable company up and get their limited basic package, and then you get what is called a DTA, digital transport adapter, or something like digital, whatever they call it. And it's a little tiny box that you can actually just get your basic channels on your cable without actually having a full-fledged box. And the cable companies usually charge you only a couple bucks for that. So there's, at least you can go cheaper, okay? If you want your basic TV like your NBC, ABC, CBS, you don't want to mess with an antenna, you're in an area where you can't get great TV reception, get the DTA, get the limited basic, and then get the Roku, and that will give you a nice, good mix of stuff. But anyhow, this is what I'm currently got on Roku, okay? These are the channels I've currently subscribed to, and that's what I am. So let's see, we got history, PBS. Oh wait, oops. I don't know what I did there. Let's go back to the home page. My channels. Okay, so then we go over to that. Okay, so this is what I've got now. So I've got History, PBS, Sky News. Sky News is pretty good. I'm surprised at this. You go on Sky News, and it's actually a live stream, and it's better than CNN. It's amazing. It's truly it's out of London. It's all in British time and all that, but it's quite good. There's a lot of American stuff on here. There's the live Pistorius sentencing.
I'm gonna climb it down.
But it's quite cool. Really like that, and it's actually got some, news on it other than CNN, which is being zuckered. He's a mother zucker. A mother zucker. A good movie, Broken Flowers. That's one of my favorite. Mother Zucker there over there. He's mother zuckering up CNN. Anyway, got NASA. I got Washington Post TV, which I haven't watched that much of. I'll have to try that out. Weather Nation, getting ready for the huge storm. I like CNET a lot. Crackle's good. Weather Underground. A lot of these I do occasionally watch Netflix here. Smithsonian, which is cool. There's some Showtime stuff even on here from Flicks. And this is one of my favorites. It's the Nowhere Channel, which has got a lot of news feeds, including BBC World and stuff like that. So it's really neat. Check that one out. It's a private channel, and I addressed it in a previous edition how to subscribe to it. NHK, Fox News, a whole lot of stuff on here. And there we go. The couple ones I just subscribed to. NFB, the National Film Board of Canada, has a cool channel. Bizarre TV, I haven't watched it yet. I've got a German TV network, and then real-time MSNBC. So some cool stuff there. So that's my Roku update for the cord cutter segment of this show. And now we flip over to Dave TV. I don't know, I just thought I would just do one today instead of doing two. But anyhow, what's the big news? The big news, I just talked to Jonathan, my Australian friend down in Australia. He's an American friend down in Australia. He used to live here in the Washington area. He was a big Don and Mike fan over the years, and then ended up in Australia, where he claims the radio is terrible. So he does a podcast there about telling about how awful Australian radio is. And, he calls me up every Wednesday, and we do a little chit-chat, which we post normally on Friday-ish. So look for that. We talked all Don Geronimo today. Just all we talked about Don. What's up with Don? You know, what's up with this his latest co-host leaving? What's up with all that? What's his future? Everything you wanted to know about where Don Geronimo stands in the biz right now. What's his future? Blah, 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 blah. You will find on that Sadly Lacking podcast, Sadly Lacking radio podcast, which will be out on Friday. So stay tuned for that. I'll post a linky link to it. What's really pissing me off, I guess, is the Redskins name thing and the challenges to Dan Snyder's radio stations. You know, I don't particularly like Dan Snyder. I don't think he's a particularly good owner. I think the Redskins have generally sucked under his ownership. They have. I think he's been not a well-liked person. And that whole thing with the city paper over that article, I thought that was just he should have just let that go. He's a I don't know. There's a lot of things not to like about Dan Snyder, but where I really find this thing unfair are these people like now we've got a couple of Native Americans who work at WPFW who are filing challenges against his radio station licenses because they use the term Redskins on the radio station. You know, common acceptance is the Redskins. You know, everybody uses the term Redskins. It's been on all the networks, and most TV stations have aired the word Redskins. I can't imagine a radio. You know, every radio station in the Washington market has at one time or another aired the word Redskins. So what are you going to do? Challenge the license of every station? But more importantly, it's the FCC. Now, the FCC usually screws things up. They almost always get things wrong, and I honestly hope they don't do this, but this time. But the FCC should get out of the business of regulating speech. Okay, you know, they should. They should be in for technical stuff. They should be in for licensing crap, and that's it. And get out of the business. Don't talk about. You know, they should be not be in. You know, this whole thing of putting out indecency fines. You know, back when Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction, that was stupid. Or finding Howard Stern back in the day, you know, that was stupid. Now claiming that the term Redskins is racist and hate speech, you know, and then they want to reject licenses because they see the word Redskins on Dan Snyder's radio stations. Yeah, but they say the word Redskins on CBS's WJFK and WMA, Clemus's WMAL, and probably on all the other stations in the market. So what are you going to do? Take away the radio? It's just like it's PC gone amok. It's nutty. It's crazy. And the FCC should put a halt to this and say, look, we're not going to get in the business of telling people what they can and can't say on the radio dial. Whether you're offended by something, you can't file a license challenge. So you know, hopefully Tom Wheeler will put some sanity in this. I don't know. You know, I know he's probably gunning for a job at Comcast, so or maybe he's going to run for public office if he'll do the wrong thing. But he really should just say, look, it's not our business to judge speech on the stations regarding. That's a. You know, if you want to boycott Dan Snyder's sponsors, if you want to picket his station, that's one thing. That's fine. You do what you want to do, but you can't take his license away because of that. Because it's just ridiculous. The FCC should not be in that thought mind business. It's wrong. Okay, the latest radio ratings came out. Nothing really earth shattering, but what I am seeing is still no traction for DC's 107.3 WRQX. You know, they flipped over to a contemporary hits format a while back and put in that new morning show there, and there's nothing. It's still 20th place. They're getting their asses whipped by Tommy McFly and over there at Fresh, and by Kane over there at Hot 99.5. So I don't know. I'm still saying it's going to be a Nash Christmas at 107.3. I just have a funny feeling. We're going to be hearing some Nash country on 107.3 by Christmas. Monica Samtani is gone from Channel 9. She was the morning traffic person. And Fred D'Ambrosi, or whatever his name, Fred D'Ambrosi, he's the news director. He's also gone over there at Channel 9. Obviously, the low ratings, you know, they just can't get any ratings traction over there, so whatever. Nobody watches Channel 9. It's a joke. Everybody says that. It says, what? It's sad to see Channel 9. WAME pulls the plug on Animal House. That's sad, too. I like that show. You know, Saturdays when I'm driving around, I'll listen to Car Talk and some of their shows. And I always liked Animal House, and I liked Sam Litzinger. I think he's a great guy. You know, but you know, hey, it's you know, it just didn't get the traction they wanted on. It needs to be heard on a lot of other public radio stations to get some donation traction there, and it wasn't getting that. So, but it's sad. David Sproul leaving WMAL WRQX. He's been the chief engineer over there for a long time and worked at the stations for 41 years. He's a cool guy. I like him a lot. He really cool guy. So shout out to David Sproul. They mentioned him on the show last Friday on the Larry and Brian show there in the mornings, and gave a nice tribute to him. So David Sproul, one of the greats, leaving. I don't know what he's going to be doing. I guess he's retiring. Going to spend some time out there with, I don't know, Don Geronimo on the links. I don't know. I told John today when I was doing the podcast. I said if Don wants to stay in the radio business and be a big figure, he needs to move back to Washington and he needs to get really involved in the media market here. That's what I told him. So anyhow, you can hear more about that when we talk about that. Steve Davis, he's program director there at PGC and Fresh 94.7 there at CBS, and he's done pretty good on both those stations. They're seeing some ratings updates. They're not where they want to be, but they're better. Anyhow, he's been named the vice president of programming for the whole CBS cluster here in Washington, so he'll be overseeing JFK, LZOL, and WNEW also. So I don't know. He seems to be a music guy, so I don't know what he's going to be doing on talk stations. I don't know. Play more music. Oh, I don't know, man. Okay, so that's our big news. Politico. Yeah, I had an interesting thing about Politico. One of my sources tells me that Fred Ryan left Albritton, had a big feud with Robert Albritton, went over to, he's now the Washington Post publisher, and one of his missions is to get Politico back, get that whole thing into the Washington Post fold. So we'll see if Jeff Bezos, with all of his loads of wheelbarrows full of cash, will somehow make some sort of a deal to even further manipulate and monopolize Washington media business. You know, the Washington Post, they own like the Gazette newspaper, they own that Times newspaper in Northern Virginia, they own the Express, what is it, the Express? You know, it's like we want to own everything. Well, let's get the Politico back too, and you know, because that was kind of a humiliating defeat for the Post there to have their, you know, we're the Washington newspaper, and then all of a sudden somebody else comes along and beats them to the punch on a lot of national political issues. So that's kind of funny. So I'm sure that there's some revenge in the cards there. So watch that. I'm the only one who's reporting that, by the way, because I think everybody else, that's what they do. When I report something and then there's dead silence, and then a couple months later, Paul Farley will break the news that Fred Ryan's secret desire is to get Politico back into the fold, and he'll pretend like, I broke this, and I'll go, Paul, I told the story back in October, and it's now, what, February. You didn't break it. I did. Oh, no. And then maybe he'll put a little thing at the very end of his story. He'll go, DCRTV Dave reportedly said something about this a couple months ago. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Paul Farley stuff is getting boring, isn't it? Man, all he does is write about boring stuff about the Washington press pool, and he needs to leave the Post and start writing a textbook on journalism, man. That's where man. So much of that Washington Post is boring and dull. That style section, please, Mr. Bezos, fix the friggin' thing, man. It's a mess. It's boring. It's dull. You open it up and go, there's nothing here. It's dull. The paper needs a redesign. It's gray. It looks dull. The articles are too long. It's boring. Oh, hire David Carr. I mean, he wrote a puff piece about you. Hire him. Jeez. All right, folks. Thanks for watching Dave TV and the Cord Cutter for the 15th of October, 2014. Don't forget to help support the site. It's our 17th year. Just click on the little linky-dinky support thingy-dingy on DCR TV. So there you... Oh, my camo pants today. Got some shorts on today. It's really warm today with the huge, giant wall of water that's going to come thundering through. All right, folks. Thanks for watching Dave TV. Book 'em, Dano.